Welcome to the Worst of the Riot podcast. Coming up, is it ever okay to confess your love in the midst of a 28-hour road trip?
And if your significant other is going to the gym, your relationship may be in shambles, and more on the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Welcome back from the weekend, Isaiah. Did you have a good weekend?
Fantastic weekend. A nice chill weekend for me.
Yeah, did you do anything noteworthy or no?
Nothing good, noteworthy. Just a normal weekend for me.
Yeah, nice relaxing weekend. I had a pretty a nice weekend, mostly very relaxing as well. Nothing too noteworthy as far as out and about goes, but I did get locked out of my house. That was
what a wild weekend that must have been.
That was an event. Because
what a highlight.
I'll tell you what happened is my mother-in-law lives with me and my wife. She is out of town. We drove her to the airport. Normally, if we get locked out of the house, me and my wife, then we would probably just like, odds are she's going to be there. And so we'll just call her and be like, hey, come unlock the door. But me and my wife walked out of the house. Neither one of us had the keys. And so I had walked out first. And so my wife comes out and then she's like about to get in the car and went, well, wait, you don't have the keys. And so she kind of, she didn't get frantic. She didn't get panicky, but you could tell, like, she's like, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I, calm, cool, collected, walk to the backyard, get the ladder, because I know one of our second story windows is unlocked.
Yeah.
And so I just got to pop the screen out and whatever. And so I do that. There's a tree in the way. Whatever, no problem for me. I climb through the window, get in the house, and, get the keys. We're ready to get on our way. And there's nothing like the feeling. It is so, because again, my wife was like, she wasn't panicking, but she's like, what are we going to do? I had a very calm demeanor. And then when I was able to do that, she was very impressed.
Oh, she was blown away by that.
She was impressed. And it was
you climbed through the window after you left the keys in the house.
I had this situation all under control. I was so calm and collected. She was very impressed. And it was one of those moments where, like, you feel such satisfaction. And so we're driving away. And then she goes, don't you have a spare key in your wallet? But if I did. The end of the story is yes, I did.
So then she immediately goes back from hero to then again zero.
I think she was still pretty impressed.
Was she? She was blown away.
Either way, I had it all under control. And maybe I knew I had a key in my wallet the whole time. And I was just waiting for an excuse to use the ladder to climb through a window. Yeah.
He's like, I haven't used my ladder in a while.
Yeah.
No, I've never been locked out of. Fun fact about me, I don't even really lock my door too often.
You don't?
Not usually.
I thought I was exposing myself as a house that it would be perfect for thieves, but apparently yours is even more.
Even better.
Even more so, yeah.
See, I would
Sounds like neither one of us have a security system.
Well, for the most part, me or my roommate's always home. One of us is always home.
Yeah.
And so we don't have to worry about getting locked out. But I always wondered too, what do you do if you're fully locked out? Like, who do you call? You break in?
I guess a locksmith. I mean, it's got to be a rare case.
Oh, super rare. Every door, every window, you can't get in?
Exactly. Every single thing. So, yeah, I don't know. But, I mean, most people probably, that's why you got to have a friend that you, like, particularly for apartments and stuff. You got to have a friend that you give the spare key to just in case. Although my parents, they told me they're not allowed to do that for their house. They live in an apartment. They're not allowed to give me a key just in case, whether I need to get in or they need somebody to come unlock it.
Why aren't they allowed?
I don't know. It's against their lease. And they are adhering to the lease.
And they think that they're going to check your pockets.
Yeah, that's right. I could get caught.
Their landlord's going to check your pockets and be like, hey, you got a spare key to their place?
Yeah.
Got it.
There's some registry of keys. If they make a copy, they'll be found out.
The location must be in it or something. That makes sense.
Do yourself a favor and follow The Riot on Instagram at RadioU Riot.
Let me ask you this. How'd you like to be able to make Taco Bell in your own home? Kind of like Devontae Adams style, except you actually have to make it. Because now that is a possibility. It's a reality. Taco Bell has teamed up with Kraft Heinz to release a pair of new cooking kits that allow you to make their iconic crunch wraps and quesadillas in your very own home.
Some at-home tacos. People do that pretty often. I knew they have the packets.
Yeah.
I've used the packets of their seasoning before.
Yes. But
Does it taste like Taco Bell? It tastes like any other at-home seasoning.
Yeah. I've similarly done the same thing. It doesn't scream Taco Bell.
It doesn't at all.
But maybe when you make even more of the ingredients Taco Bell-ish, it'll make it taste more like Taco Bell. So now, exclusively, it looks like at Walmart, nationwide, and online, you can get a Taco Bell at-home Crunch Wrap Supreme Kit or Chipotle Chicken Quesadilla Kit for the cost of $6.98. You think that's a good deal?
Well, it depends what all comes in it.
All right. It's everything except the meat. So tortillas, the shells, sauces, seasonings, and it's enough to make four servings, and it's got everything you need, it sounds like, except the ground beef or chicken, sour cream, lettuce, and tomatoes.
So all the good stuff.
All the stuff that actually...
So it has what? 4 quesadillas in there? And some seasoning?
Like 4 tortillas or shells, and then sauces and seasonings. Yeah.
That's not a good deal.
For $6.98.
You can get like a huge pack of quesadillas for like $3.
Actually, when you
this is a
spread it
horrible
out,
deal.
yeah, this doesn't actually sound like you're getting a real good deal at all, does it?
This sounds like nothing. This sounds like you should go and get some quesadillas from Kroger. And then you should go
some
through
tortillas.
You should go through the Taco Bell drive-thru and you should get some of their sauces.
Yeah.
Save those.
You can walk into Taco Bell and take the Diablo sauce as much as you want for free.
Walk out.
You think the employees are going to say something even if you didn't buy anything? Yeah.
And then
I was just in the drive-thru with somebody in the back seat or whatever.
You go and you buy the 69-cent Taco Bell seasoning packet.
Yep.
A huge pack of tortillas for like $2, Kroger brand, whatever you want. And then you go to Taco Bell, grab some Diablo sauce, and now you have the at-home DIY
And
kit.
even using the gas to make multiple stops, you're still going to be saving money.
Saving money, and you'll have way more.
I can't believe they're doing this. They fooled us. But they can't fool us.
No.
We're too savvy.
But someone's going to buy this kit and think that there's meat in there.
Yeah, that's
lettuce.
That's
and
the
sour
trouble.
cream.
There's literally none of the filling. It gives you the ingredients to make the outside of a quesadilla,
which is the worst ingredients. It's the most useless stuff they have.
The most easily attainable, the cheapest.
The cheapest.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
What is your top takeaway from this weekend of football?
You know, it was all pretty set for me. I mean, my Cleveland Brownies locked a long time ago. So for me, I mean, I was watching this weekend to see who the Brownies were gonna face off against.
Yeah.
Many of the things that I assumed would happen did. The Buffalo Bills squeaked in as I thought they would, but getting the 2 seed is a huge switch up.
Oh, that's a big bonus for them, yeah.
In the AFC, that's a huge help for them, as now that propels their likelihood to make it to the AFC Championship game, to the Super Bowl, as many Bills fans would say they aspire to go. So for them, it looks good for the Bills. On the NFC side, my biggest takeaway, the Eagles are completely falling apart. In disbelief, in disarray of what has happened to them in the second half of the season, and the Cowboys continue to roll, getting to that 2 seed. So both sides of the brackets pretty much played out as I thought they would. And I know you're a happy boy this morning.
I'm feeling great today. The Packers clinched a playoff spot. Yeah! Isaiah and I are such on the same page. I didn't even have to do this. Isaiah's celebrating too.
Well, that's what I do for you. You know, you would never hit my Browns hotkey.
But yeah, I can't do that.
Because I hit it. I always hit it before you have to.
You got an itchy trigger finger on that.
I do.
Listen to this. It feels so good. The Packers are going to the playoffs, and I couldn't be happier because we get the Dallas Cowboys in our first playoff game. And can I say this? And this is not just about the Packers game, but the NFC in general. I think all of the wild card teams are going to win because you look at it.
Really? And which side? The NFC or AFC?
In the NFC.
NFC.
Because if you look at the NFC, all of the wild card teams have the superior coach and the superior quarterback. Obviously, the most egregious would be the Packers having Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur clearly outclass what the Cowboys have. So, yeah, I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling good going into the playoffs this week. It feels good to be a Green Bay fan and just roll from one franchise quarterback to another. Also, it should be, speaking of franchise quarterbacks, wouldn't it be nice if the Steelers had one? Because somehow they're in the playoffs with Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett, and Mitch Trubisky leading them there. How's that possible? I think it's forgotten. One, it's just so common the Steelers make the playoffs. And two, because their game was on Saturday and they didn't have to win their way in on Sunday like some other teams. It's just crazy. What are the Steelers doing in the playoffs? How do they do this every year?
See, as a Browns fan, as you know, my disdain for the Steelers as always continues. But I will say, the only way I can refer to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I know this firsthand because I'm watching them pretty much every single week, hoping they lose, but they are the cockroach that you cannot kill.
That's right.
No matter what it looks like, no matter what, they want to fire Mike Tomlin halfway through the season.
Yeah.
They want to get rid of Kenny Pickett. They want to get rid of Matt Canada. They want to get rid of Najee Harris. If you would have listened, you would have thought that they were 2-12.
Mm-hmm. You would have thought they were
ago.
the Patriots this year.
Yes.
Who they lost to and still somehow made the playoffs.
But they are, yet again, the cockroach you can't kill. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin, if there's one thing I know about them, is they are going to finish above 500, no matter who is on their team.
Mm-hmm.
But they did. TJ Watt went down with an injury late in that game, and that does not look good for them, as they're going to face off against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo, a wild matchup there. Josh Allen may throw 4 interceptions to that defense, but they may also win the game.
That's right. Let us know what your football takeaways are for the weekend. Your headlines, 8772 Radio U.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
What is your top takeaway from this weekend of football?
You know, it was all pretty set for me. I mean, my Cleveland Brownies locked a long time ago. So for me, I was watching this weekend to see who the Brownies were gonna face off against.
Yeah.
Many of the things that I assumed would happen did. The Buffalo Bills squeaked in as I thought they would, but getting the 2 seed is a huge switch up.
Oh, that's a big bonus for them, yeah.
In the AFC. That's a huge help for them, as now that propels their likelihood to make it to the AFC Championship game, to the Super Bowl, as many Bills fans would say they aspire to go. So for them, it looks good for the Bills. On the NFC side, my biggest takeaway, the Eagles are completely falling apart. In disbelief, in disarray of what has happened to them in the second half of the season. And the Cowboys continue to roll, getting to that 2 seed. So both sides of the brackets pretty much played out as I thought they would. And I know you're a happy boy this morning.
I'm feeling great today. The Packers clinched a playoff spot. Yeah! Isaiah and I are such on the same page. I didn't even have to do this. Isaiah's celebrating too.
Well, that's what I do for you. You know, you would never hit my Browns hotkey.
But yeah, I can't do that.
Because I hit it. I always hit it before you have to.
You got an itchy trigger finger on that.
I do.
Listen to this. It feels so good. The Packers are going to the playoffs, and I couldn't be happier because we get the Dallas Cowboys in our first playoff game. And can I say this? And this is not just about the Packers game, but the NFC in general. I think all of the wild card teams are going to win because you look at it.
Really? And which side? The NFC or AFC?
In the NFC.
NFC.
Because if you look at the NFC, all of the wild card teams have the superior coach and the superior quarterback. Obviously, the most egregious would be the Packers having Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur clearly outclass what the Cowboys have. So, yeah, I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling good going into the playoffs this week. It feels good to be a Green Bay fan and just roll from one franchise quarterback to another. Also, it should be, speaking of franchise quarterbacks, wouldn't it be nice if the Steelers had one? Because somehow they're in the playoffs with Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett, and Mitch Trubisky leading them there. How's that possible? I think it's forgotten. One, it's just so common the Steelers make the playoffs. And two, because their game was on Saturday and they didn't have to win their way in on Sunday like some other teams. It's just crazy. What are the Steelers doing in the playoffs? How do they do this every year?
See, as a Browns fan, as you know, my disdain for the Steelers as always continues. But I will say, the only way I can refer to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I know this firsthand because I'm watching them pretty much every single week, hoping they lose, but they are the cockroach that you cannot kill.
That's right.
No matter what it looks like, no matter what, they want to fire Mike Tomlin halfway through the season.
Yeah.
They want to get rid of Kenny Pickett. They want to get rid of Matt Canada. They want to get rid of Najee Harris. If you would have listened, you would have thought that they were 2-12.
Mm-hmm. You would have thought they were
ago.
the Patriots this year.
Yes.
Who they lost to and still somehow made the playoffs.
But they are, yet again, the cockroach you can't kill. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin, if there's one thing I know about them, is they are going to finish above 500, no matter who is on their team.
Mm-hmm.
But they did. TJ Watt went down with an injury late in that game, and that does not look good for them, as they're going to face off against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo, a wild matchup there. Josh Allen may throw 4 interceptions to that defense, but they may also win the game.
That's right. Let us know what your football takeaways are for the weekend. Your headlines, 8772 Radio U.
There's never been a can of worms they didn't open. The Riot, Radio U.
What do you think was the top highlight of the night as far as the Golden Globes goes?
I think the main takeaway that many people had was it was not funny.
Yeah.
There was trying to be humorous, and I haven't throughout my time of watching the Golden Globes, which is very few, but I did watch last night.
Yeah.
I expected it to be not as cringy, and it was cringy.
Yeah. So
it was hard to listen to.
Joe Coy is a stand-up comedian. He was the host. Are you familiar? Have you heard of him before?
I have seen him before, but I'm not familiar with his comedy. But I heard people online saying that they thought that he is usually funny.
Yeah.
But last night he was not funny.
I do question, I was trying to figure out what is he notable for at the moment that would make him qualified as a Golden Globes host. I just didn't know that he was a hot name at the moment. I've heard of him. He's been around for a while. I've seen some of his stand-up. It's fine. It's not my favorite, but it's not cringe either. But some of last night, it is true. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was horrible. Many of his comments, not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes.
It's just tough to call out, I don't like criticizing stand-up comedians, but at the same time, when you have the Golden Globes, there's plenty of jokes to be written and and plenty of time to prepare. And then when you come out there and kind of drop the ball, you just got to question why, who gave the rubber stamp on some of the jokes. So that was kind of rough. What else do we got? What else you watched? What did you take away?
I watched Bill Hader kiss his girlfriend, which I never want to see again. If I ever see Bill Hader share a kiss on TV again, I think I'm going to lose my mind. That was one of the most awkward things that I saw during the night.
What's so bad about it?
There was too much lip action going, and it was too much of a kiss for TV for me. And also, I was shocked
They're in
because
love. What can you say?
I didn't know that they were dating or a girlfriend, whatever the situation is. I didn't know they were together. And so when she stood up for her award, I think it was Ali Wong or whatever it was.
Okay.
When she stood up for her award for Beef.
Yeah.
And then she turns to her right. And she goes to share a kiss with her boyfriend. And Bill Hader's face is like a jump scare as it hops onto the screen to scare you as he's on the other half of that kiss. That I was not ready for. And so for that moment alone, me and everybody that was watching were shocked that he was on the other end. Also, Jared Leto, when he was one of the presenters for an award, he will never be on TV and me not think that he looks scary.
Yeah.
He's a creepy looking dude.
He's a wild guy. I'll tell you who had good nights last night. The Bear. Have you ever watched The Bear, the cooking show? I mean, it's a drama, but it's about cooking, about chefs and whatever. That had a very good night as far as winning some of the TV awards. And that is the type of show I've watched. I enjoy it. It feels like the type of show that does well at the Golden Globes, but normal people don't want to watch. You know what I mean? And then as far as movies go, Poor Things and Oppenheimer had a huge night, a bunch of wins, which
as we expected.
Yeah, Oppenheimer. I feel it's weird. Oppenheimer had such a good night. I didn't feel like the buzz about it was like led to believe that it was just going to clean up at all the award shows. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I thought
but it
people thought it
feels
was
like
good,
it-
but not like that obviously good.
It just feels like it's the kind of movie that would just take it all home.
That
though.
is true.
When RDJ went up there and he accepted his award, he also gave a great speech, very entertaining. Was one of the better presenters after they actually were awarded it. I thought that his speech was entertaining, as he always is.
Well, good to have awards season going now. Looking forward to the better award shows like the Oscars later on. 8772 Radio U. Let us know what you thought of the Golden Globes or if you just didn't even watch it all.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
Did you see the video that was going viral over the weekend? A man in Alabama, he crashed his car outside of a Bass Pro Shops, and then he did the thing that I feel like everybody has considered in their mind anytime you've been in a Bass Pro Shops or a Cabela's or anything like that. You see the big fish tank in the middle, the big waterfall, and you're like, what would it be like to go swimming in there? And this guy did it. His name is George Owens, 42 years old. Took all his clothes off, jumped in the fish tank at Bass Pro Shops. There's video of him yelling something unintelligible. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's one of the crazier videos I've seen thus far into 2024. As
Yeah.
we're just 8 days in.
Yeah.
But I would say this is one of the worst things someone's done yet.
It's a decently high bar to clear for the rest of the year. But am I accurate though? When you go into Bass Pro Shops or Cabela's or any of those places that have the big fish tank, do you not think has that ever crossed your mind? I wonder what it'd be like to swim in there.
For me, I've never thought to actually dive in because you got to think that there's some animals in there,
Yeah.
some fish in there. Usually for me, it's like, do I want to go to jail today?
Yeah.
Typically not.
It's just one of those things you picture in your mind, and sane people go, well, as fun as that sounds, not going to do it because there's consequences, and there's just probably things you don't think about. But George Owens, man, he put that side of the sane side of his brain to bed on this day, if there is a sane
He gets
side.
completely naked, eh?
Yeah, he's
That's what I thought.
stripped all the way down.
I
don't
couldn't
think the
tell if he was
fishes
wearing a
fishes were not
bikini
excited about that.
Or what was going on there?
Yeah, he might have left his underwear on.
I don't think he did.
It's difficult to tell.
I think he's completely naked.
It's difficult,
And it must
to
be
tell.
freezing cold in there.
And I don't want to look. Yeah, I don't want to look too.
That water must
too
be ice
closely.
cold.
But you got to wonder what drove him to do this, and you have to remember too that he crashed his car first. He crashed his car outside the Bass Pro Shops, then goes in and gets naked and jumps in the fish tank. So what kind of wild day was he having?
And you got to think after that, like, is he married? If so, what is this conversation like with his wife afterwards?
Yeah. What is the rest of his family? He's got to have some people in his life.
What's the first phone call you make after this incident? You go to jail, obviously, and
Yeah.
then you get out of jail. And what's the first phone call you make?
If-
you call your grandmother, you call your mother, you call your father. Like, who are you calling? And what are you saying?
Either you got to call your mom because you know she's going to be disappointed, but she still loves you, or you call one of your bros, right?
And you say, what? I crashed my car?
Yeah,
jumped in the
because you know,
bathtub?
like you
what
got
do
to call
say?
one of your ride or dies, like just your closest friend, because he's the one that's going to get you out of a jam. You know what I mean? Your wife's just going to be upset. This guy's 42, he's married, his wife's not going to leave him, but she's going to be upset.
I think that's the
right?
first person you call. I think you rip off the Band-Aid. You call your
You
wife.
just get it out of there.
And you think, hey, something weird happened today.
Yeah.
I'm going to come home and it's going to be kind of shocking what I'm about to say, but I want you to be prepared that I'm about to knock your socks off with this story.
It says he was charged with public lewdness, disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, assault on a police officer.
Oh, goodness.
2 counts of first-degree criminal mischief. Oh, he was being mischievous, all right. And 2 counts of reckless endangerment. So,
He's going to jail for a good minute, it sounds like.
Sounds like. So now you know, at least now you have the answer to the question, what happens when you jump in a Bass Pro Shops fish tank? All that.
Hudson is the maple syrup, and Isaiah is the power protein flapjack. This is The Riot on Radio U.
A gal on TikTok has gone viral for a sticky situation. I don't even want to say she's gotten herself into, kind of. But she's asking the internet, asking TikTok for help. She claims she's on a 28-hour road trip with a guy. And somewhere along the way, seemingly early on, he confessed his love for her. What do you do?
It's a long car ride.
Yeah. Let's look at this from both sides of the coin. You're the gal. Since she's asking for help, assuming she does not feel the same way, what do you do?
I mean, you got to ride it out. I mean, right off the rip, when he says that, you got to be like, we're not doing that on this road trip here.
You got to be honest.
You think that let me ask you this, brother, because you got to think in your mind. You think I agreed to a 28-hour road trip with you, and we've gotten this far as friends, and there's been no move made on either behalf. You think that we probably are not compatible at that point?
Well, maybe, but I think you also have to, for her, she's got to look in the mirror and think about the signals she's sending. Agreeing to a one-on-one 28-hour road trip.
That's clearly friend behavior.
It's not friend behavior.
Yes, it's friend behavior. Are you out of your mind? Don't you think that if she's agreeing to a 28-hour road trip with you, that she by now would have said, I like you?
If it's one-on-one, some might say that sounds like a nice long week trip. But you don't go 28-hour road trips with people you're just friends with, unless they're clearly your friends.
Which is, I think, what it has to be.
Well, it must not be clear because he just confessed his love for her.
Like, if you're going on a 28-hour road trip with somebody, you are best friends for life at this point. Like, you're not just going, like, this isn't like some 3-month-old friend. We've been friends for a couple years if we're going on this huge road trip together.
So, okay. That's fair. If they've been friends for a long time.
Unless you're just buddying up for 28 hours with somebody you just met a month ago, it feels as if, brother, you've probably been in the friend zone for what feels like 3 years now. 28-hour road trip, I couldn't even imagine. There's very few people in my life I would go on a 28-hour road trip with. Like my mom, my dad, my brothers,
you mean
my girlfriend.
People you love?
Yeah. My best friend, my roommates. Like, there's very few even of my friends that would do that with, let alone someone that I have a crush on. That would be the time, and then to declare it, I mean, that's all-time high stakes.
So you would just look at him, you'd go, we're not doing this.
Yeah, that's the only way.
This is not that kind of road trip, you'd say.
No. Right away. You had to shut it down right off the rip.
Yeah,
Sorry.
You can't play coy. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't beat around the bush. Okay, now you're in her shoes. You just got shut down, or his shoes. You just got shut down, confessed your love, and you've got somewhere between 1 and 28 hours of a road trip with her.
Spin it back.
What do you mean?
Turn it around.
Turn it around?
Turn the car around, brother.
It's over.
Are you crazy? Now, let me ask you this. This is the next thing. Are you going to continue this friendship, or were you just in it because you had a crush on her?
Yeah.
Now that she has turned you down, are you still down for the 28-hour road trip as friends? Are you just friends? No. You're not down for it anymore.
For him, he needed to be prepared to hear no. So if you can't confess that unless you're prepared to hear no. For me, if this happened, I would unbuckle the seatbelt, open the car door, barrel roll out of there.
Yeah, I mean,
it's her car now.
Realistically,
even if I owned it, it's her car. I will never see her face again. That car is her problem. She's abandoned in whatever country we're in, and I will walk home.
Yeah, just a bad idea overall from him.
Yeah,
horrible timing.
Yeah,
you should have told her this before you were 7 hours into the car ride, brother. It's too late now. If you were gonna admit this after you've been waiting for years, whatever it is, you should have done that before.
You could have waited 28 more hours till it was over at least.
Or before the trip, man. And then you could have been like, you know what, cancel the trip, we're not going.
Either you could let the connection blossom, or maybe the 28 hours are over and you can tense either for you or for her. It's just not going to happen. But not. You don't do it till later.
You don't always have to agree with Isaiah to always disagree with Hudson. The Riot. Radio U.
Nobody pays attention. You might want to start paying attention. Especially after what happened this weekend on an Alaskan Airlines flight where the jetliner about 3 miles after takeoff, part of the jetliner blew out. And so they had to make an emergency landing, and everybody had to wear those oxygen masks. Apparently, all 171 passengers and 6 crew members all wound up landing safely. Everybody was okay. But the plane blew apart in some sense. A rapid depressurization in midair. It's amazing that they were actually able to land under those circumstances. Pretty crazy situation.
What this tells me, because you said everybody's okay, so it's okay to joke about it. So everybody's fine.
Nobody was seriously hurt.
Nobody was hurt. So what this tells me is, in the beginning you said you really should pay attention during that.
Yeah.
But I think this tells me that you do not have to pay attention.
Oh, yeah.
Because if everybody was able to figure it out. There was one, I saw a TikTok of a girl that said, when you wake up from a nap.
Yeah, she was asleep.
And you think that it's just turbulence, and then you open your eyes and everybody has the masks on. And this the whole side of the plane has been blown out, and then you just grab your little mask and put it on. It seemed as if when you're in there, you can just help each other out, and everybody got their masks on. They drop down, you just toss it on.
You got to think. They say, I said it was 3 miles. It was shortly after takeoff. They say it was 3 miles above the ground, not 3 miles after takeoff. But still, it was very early on. They weren't all the way maybe in full flight mode. So maybe it'd be different if you were like, above the clouds. You know what I'm saying?
A little bit scarier.
Yeah, it might have been a little more frightening, maybe a little more of a dire situation. But given the circumstances, yeah, I guess you could be right. Odds are the people on that plane were not paying attention to the little alert, a little announcement beforehand, a little demonstration, and they all figured it out. So yeah, I guess you could be right. And you think about this too, after this rapid depressurization, this blowout on the Alaskan Airlines flight, the FAA then ordered the immediate grounding of all the other Boeing 737 MAX 9 jetliners until they could all be inspected. So now they're safer than ever before, right?
Oh, yeah, but that's kind of wild that they inspected them all. They took all the flights out of the air that day and said, what, we got to look at all of them.
All of those same planes, yeah, it sounds like it. And now they're all good to go. You're safe. You can fly without worry.
Well, now you know that Alaska Airlines, their flights are probably going to be cheaper. You should go ahead and book those right now, and they're going to be safer than ever.
That's right. Now's the time to fly.
Do yourself a favor and follow The Riot on Instagram at RadioU Riot.
So, that was tough. But then there was even worse news. And that is that the Kansas City Chiefs and her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, are going to be relegated to Peacock for their playoff game against the Miami Dolphins. It's going to be a Peacock exclusive on Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Which, you know what? That's not a sad for Taylor Swift. You know who it's really sad for? Her fans, the Swifties. What are they supposed to do?
Well, you know what they're going to do?
What's that?
What all fans will do. They'll shell out the money. They'll watch the game. That's what happens.
You think they're going to fork over $5.99 for Peacock for a month?
I think enough people will to where this is just going to keep on happening more and more and more.
This is a tough time of year. Not only are the gyms trying to get you to sign up for a subscription that you'll forget about but keep paying for, so is the NFL trying to get you onto Peacock. I'm tired of this, man. The NBC, stop trying to make Peacock a thing. Stop trying to make Fetch a thing. And nobody wants Peacock. It's not a good service. You don't have good shows on it. People forget about it except when it makes them mad because there's something on there that is only on there that actually once in a blue moon happens to be something they want to watch. I don't know why. Well, I know why they're doing this. They're trying to get people in on it. I don't think it's going to work.
It's working.
I don't think it's going to work.
It already worked.
What do you mean it already worked?
The Bills-Chargers game?
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago. Was also only available on Peacock.
Yeah.
Averaged 7.3 million viewers, peaked at an average of 8.4 million during the league's first ever commercial-free fourth quarter. It was the most watched program that day. They're going to keep doing it.
How does that compare to like other NFL games, though?
It was the most watched program that day. That's all that matters for them. And guess what? They showed out $110 million for this game. And all they're doing is taking $5 at a time every month and they're going to make this happen. It's going to keep on happening over and over and over again. Remember when we did Amazon Prime on Thursdays?
Yeah.
And we thought that was crazy for the Thursday night games. And now the viewership on Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime is higher ratings than 3 years ago when it was on ESPN. Because people are shelling out the money to watch it.
But people have Prime anyways.
Yeah, but still, but to be higher ratings now than 3 years ago on ESPN is showing that they can put it on anything.
I think that's says more about how ESPN having trouble, and now that's why they put the Monday night games on ABC, and it really works.
Yeah, but I mean, for it to go from a widely available, you can watch it on DirecTV, YouTube TV, any cable, any of that, to go to Amazon Prime and have this much success, and now for that Bills-Chargers game a couple weeks ago to be the first NFL game ever on Peacock, and for it to already be the most watched program that day on Peacock, this is already, I mean, before you know it, in the next 3 years, the Super Bowl is going to be a pay-per-view event, and it's written on the wall, like it's obvious. That's what's going to happen, and everyone's going to pay.
It's going to be, I'm just going to hate Peacock even more.
You're going to love it because you're going to watch every Green Bay Packers game on Peacock in a couple of years.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Now, this is a new phenomenon, according to employers, that as recent college graduates are obviously entering into the workforce after graduating, recently, employers are reporting that recent college graduates are less and less prepared, or at least are coming off as less and less prepared to enter the workforce based off of their job interviews. So much so to the point that 60% of employers said they're willing to offer more benefits and pay higher salaries to attract older workers rather than hire cheaper recent graduates. And part of it comes down to it's being chalked up to partially the pandemic, that apparently like if you recently went through school and whatever, they feel like your growth was stunted and you are less prepared to go into the workforce.
It's a wild take from the employers.
Yeah, that they really do say that you can tell even in job interviews. It seems that that people that are getting out of college are just they're just not ready, and so like, how do we fix this?
See, but what do they think has changed? What do they think is different? I guess they think the online classes probably weren't as strong.
I think so. I think, yeah, that whatever...
Which is such a wild thing. Like, imagine being... This is the thing that's crazy for me. Imagine being an employer and going through interviews, and you think that the candidates that you're attracting are just not as good as the ones that were 3 or 4 years ago. It just seems like a very wild take for you to be the one to decide if they're just as qualified or not. And they say that they would rather, obviously, go back and hire the older employees...
Mm-hmm.
and pay them more money, which I think makes sense. It's always going to make more sense to hire a more experienced person in the field, and that's if your business is able to gel or give out more money for a recent starter.
Yeah, if you can afford it.
Yeah.
What the stuff they're reporting is 1 in 5 employers reported that college grads are generally unprepared for interviews. More than half of employers say that recent college graduates seem to struggle with eye contact during interviews, and they also say that that candidates in this age group are asking for unreasonable salaries and have dressed inappropriately for in-person interviews. So that could be something that comes down to something you're necessarily taught in college or whatever, taught as you prepare for a job. You feel like you should know, but because you've been sitting at home around more and doing stuff remotely in your sweatpants, then when you come time for a job interview. But I don't know. All
That's
this
no
stuff.
chance, right? If you went through college, everybody who went through college had the same thing with their professors. More than half, this is what happens in college, more than half of your professors expect more from you, and they say these are the things that are going to happen in the real world.
Yeah.
That never actually happen. I come to work in sweatpants every single day. But you know what my boss told me at college? The GM of my college radio station said, you're going to be wearing this, a shirt and tie to work.
Yeah.
Never.
I wore a suit every day to my broadcasting school. You know how many times I've worn a suit since then? Just the times when I've had interviews. And then every single time, I've gotten made fun of for that.
And Hudson, what did I wear when I did my interview here? I wore a suit.
Did you?
I wore a suit when I came and interviewed here at Radio U because that's what you do for interviews, even if you're interviewing at a place that you're going to wear sweatpants at every day.
I think what the takeaway from this is if you are a recent college graduate, you're getting ready to enter into the workforce, you can have an automatic leg up on everybody by dressing nicely and making eye contact.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do.
And the other thing is too, for these people that say they struggle making eye contact,
yeah,
I sit across from Hudson the whole day and we don't even try to look at each other.
No.
I feel as if you feel
I'm
like
incapable.
If you're good at making eye contact with someone, that is kind of turning me off a little bit. I think you're kind of scaring me.
Yeah.
It's a little bit intimidating.
Yeah. Isaiah, look into my eyes right now.
I know, exactly. Nobody wants to look at anybody in the eyes. So if you're saying they struggle making eye contact.
Yeah, if you're in a job interview and you're making eye contact, you know
the whole time,
you know what that shows? Power.
You're trying to dominate
You're
the other
going to
person.
intimidate them, yeah.
They're going to take over
Get
the
in
company.
there, Dwight Schrute it.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
A new year brings a lot of new people to the gym, and it sounds like they might not just be working out, apparently. According to relationship expert Jessica Leone, she worries for you on your behalf. She warns that the gym, especially at this time of year, can also be a hotbed for affairs. She says this time of year particularly is a bad time for the beginnings of affairs and even possibly more dangerous or maybe more common, micro-cheating. We know what micro-cheating is, right?
I mean, of course.
It's blurring the line. It's not going all the way, but like the intention, the mindset of cheating may be there, even if it doesn't culminate in, So she warns that this could be a sign. You got to have your feelers up. You got to have your antenna aware that if your partner is going to the gym, or maybe yourself, maybe you're going to the gym and you want to stay faithful, this is a bad time of year for getting into some trouble with your relationship.
Yeah, I would say if you go to the gym and you have friends at the gym, that's one thing. But if you're like doing more than just being friends at the gym, your conversations are more than that, then obviously that is in the wrong.
Yeah.
We don't really have to go in depth and tell you what's wrong and what's right.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
But if you're on the other half of it, if your wife or husband is talking about somebody at the gym a lot, and they're doing a lot of things outside of the gym, then that's when you begin to get a little bit worried.
She says that part of the problem is that when you go to the gym and you're working out, that raises your testosterone levels, which that's going to make you more likely, like you're just feeling chemically more
Don't
up.
give me the chemical
Yeah,
whatnot.
no, it's the testosterone's fault.
Excuse.
Sorry, honey, the testosterone was just, I was working out, and so, I mean,
It's my body. I can't help my body. I don't want to hear it.
It's not an excuse. It's something to be aware of, especially personally for your own self, what you need to check if you're getting back into the gym. Obviously, I would say that if you're a routine gym goer already, then this is something that you don't need to worry about as much because you already have your routine. You know how you feel. It's when it's a new thing, and maybe because you're going to the gym, you're also feeling better about yourself. Although for a lot of people, maybe it makes it feel worse. This is, I think, for the new gym goers because it's a new group of people you could come in contact with. Again, feelings you may be not familiar with because the testosterone levels are higher than you're used to, and all of a sudden, whether it actually culminates in anything or not, your mindset is different, and that can be trouble.
Let's talk about peacocking. one of my favorites, terms that I've used many a times. But peacocking in the gym is what they say. Micro cheating. If you're peacocking, you might be wondering what is peacocking.
Yeah, I think I have an idea.
That's when you're running a little faster than you usually would, lifting a little heavier weights in an effort to prove that you're strong and a suitable candidate for the lady across the room from you.
Yeah.
If you're peacocking at the gym, what are you doing, man?
You're hot dogging. I guarantee you, too, the guys, you always have to keep this in mind. Remember this. No matter how impressive you think what you're doing is I don't think the ladies are looking at you unless you're already the type of guy that ladies look at anyways. And you probably know that.
And it doesn't matter how much. This is the other thing that's crazy. And I've talked to my girlfriend about this. She's like, no matter how much you're lifting, the lifting between men and women is so different.
Yeah.
She has no idea what is heavy. Like, she doesn't even know. So if you think that you're doing something that's really impressive, my girlfriend would look at you and be like, is that like a lot of weight? Is that a little bit of weight? Like, that's a lot of weight for me. That's more than I can lift. But is that a strong guy? Is that a weak guy? They don't know. They don't know.
And they're they're not paying attention.
They don't care either.
No.
Like, that doesn't matter to them. So when you're in there peacocking, quit the peacocking. 2024, not the year to peacock.
You think what's a better strategy if you are trying to? Maybe you're single and you think the gym is your place. As a guy, do you then struggle more than you actually think you should to make it look like you're really lifting a lot?
Or does that make you look weak? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the
like
give
trying
and
to run
take.
fast. Like, nobody just looked cool running really fast on a treadmill.
Yeah, no.
Like, no one's been like, dang, look at that dude. He's running so fast.
He
I
had
want to take
turn
him home with me.
all the way.
I need to talk to him. That dude is running as fast as he can.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.